you are ready to learn more about birds than you probably ever really wanted to know, because we are very passionate for the birds we work with and cannot wait to share them with you. So there is a wide variety of birds found throughout the world. There is in fact over 10,000 different bird species. That's almost twice as many birds on, different types of birds on Earth than there are mammal species. But of course, some species happen to be a little bit more familiar to us than others. I'm sure you guys have no problems recognizing these birds at my feet, but did you know there's more chickens on this planet than there are people? Pretty impressive fact. But as I said, there is a wide variety of birds. So we've shown you some common species. What we'd like to do is turn our focus now on some of the more exotic species along the world. So we are going to get rid of these guys heading on home. Let's hear it for them. They've done a great job kicking off our presentation. Laughing? Yeah, laughing kookaburra. They're certainly well known in the animal world for the rolling, laughing call. It is often used as a territorial call. So they'll make their way to the edge of their territory, give out a great big laugh. Neighboring kookaburras will laugh back, establishing where their territory ends and the next one does begin. Now, if you have not been to Australia, but you think he might look familiar to you, you may have seen a belted kingfisher in our area. Laughing kookaburras are the largest member of the kingfisher family, but unlike a kingfisher who mostly eats some fish, maybe, these guys are preying upon small mammals, small rodents, reptiles, and insects in Australia. Raj, our Indian peafowl. Now, he is more specifically a peacock, as he's a male. Females are peahens, and young are pea chicks. How can you tell that by looking at him? He has a beautiful blue color to his head and his neck. Females are duller. They're browns and greens. It helps them to camouflage themselves as they incubate their eggs. They do so on the ground. Now, as a male peafowl, he's missing his most distinguishing feature, his train feathers. Reason being, it's past the breeding season. So these guys have them to prop up, display, attract a female in order to breed with, but once the season is over, they actually lose all of them because they do make the males more vulnerable to predation. But there's always another breeding season around the corner, so he'll actually start to regrow his train sometime in the month of January to prepare himself for the fall and spring. That being said, with or without a train, he's still stunningly beautiful, and he's done a great job showing that off for us. That was Raj, our Indian peafowl. Now for our next bird to come on out, I am going to have to make a bit of a mess. Going to toss around a few pop cans. We're going to see if we can change your opinion on this bird species. He is native to Africa, but has very close counterparts here in North America. See if we can get Minnie Joe, our African pied crow, out here to clean up this mess I've just made. Now this is a common crow species you would see in Africa. Looks very similar to our own crows, with the obvious difference being a white band across his chest as well as around his neck. So why is he recycling? Well, he would like you to have a better opinion of crows. They tend to be thought of as dirty, disgusting birds, as we commonly see them perched along the roadsides, rummaging through garbage, eating that, and maybe some roadkill every once in a while. Certainly sounds pretty gross to you and I, but when you think about it, from these birds' perspective, it is a nice, easy meal for them. But luckily, as they eat these items, they're helping to clear nature's way of germs and diseases. Doesn't only make it safer for us, but it does as well for other animals in the wild. He does his part, since he's spending each and every day here at the safari, he does his part for the environment by doing a bit of recycling. Off you go, Minnie Joe, our African pied crow.
Now, while most birds are easily recognizable from the natural environment that they're found in, some birds might be more commonly recognized from either being the mascot to your favorite sports team, or perhaps the face of your favorite breakfast cereal. So I'd like to introduce you to Papaya. Papaya is our Swinton's toucan. Papaya here is that large bill. Now that bill can be 4 times the size of her head, and nearly the entire length of her body. Now you may be thinking that this is a heavy bill to carry around, but actually to put in perspective, her bill weighs less than all of her feathers combined. Now Papaya and all toucans use this large bill for many reasons, one of those being for mate selection. As if a male of the species were to be out here right now, they'd have the same coloration as Papaya, except the male bill would be slightly longer and more curved. Now they also use this large bill to give them more of the advantage in the bird world, get to reach further into the tree canopy to grab fruit. Yes, I did say fruit, so they're primarily a frugivore, except for during mating season, when they do need a higher protein diet. They'll use that large bill as an intimidation factor against predators and competitors, as they will swoop in the neighboring nests to steal eggs, so they have more protein for their very own eggs as well. Now they also use this large bill to help with thermal regulation. So similar to the radiator of our car, they're able to moderate their body temperature based off their surrounding environments. Now you may think it might be a little awkward to have this large bill as they are hopping around the rainforest, but toucans, they are very flexible. They have a unique bone structure. It's called a ball and socket joint formation, and this allows them to be very flexible as they are hopping from branch to branch. But Papaya did a great job showing off her beauty. Let's give a big round of applause for Papaya. As they round that back corner, from your oohs and ahs, I can tell these are very beautiful birds. They stand out in our safari environment, but when they're in the rainforest, they actually blend in quite nicely. The red and yellow coloration helps them blend into the fruit, the green matches the trees, and the blue coloration helps them camouflage very well with the shadows found within the rainforest. Now as they are nice and close, the first thing I'd like to point out is that big powerful beak of theirs. This beak is used to crack open a variety of different seeds and nuts. It's also used as a third foot, making these parrots very acrobatic, demonstrated here with a little bit of a flip. Now take a good look at their feet. Their toes are called zygodactyl toes, and that's just a fancy word for saying that they have 2 toes facing forwards and 2 toes facing backwards. And that allows them to have a really good grip on the branches that they hold on to. Now, although they do spend a majority of their times up in the treetops, it's quite a remarkable sight when you see these parrots take flight. Topping speeds up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, they use those long tail feathers to help steer themselves, and then they can fan out those feathers when they're trying to slow down and have a safe landing. Now, of course, parrots, they're known for their beauty, but they're known for one other thing in particular, and that's, of course, their ability to speak. Now, contrary to popular belief, it's not these larger macaws that are the best talkers, but it's actually the smaller parrots, such as the Amazons, the cockatiels, and budgies that some of you may have at home. But joining us center stage today, we do have Fernando. Fernando's our yellow-naped Amazon. He's quite the little chatterbox, so let's see what he has for us today.
All right, let's start off by greeting everyone. Very cheerful. He is also polite, so a question to ask. Bit of a mumbled how are you, but I do see some smiles out there, Fernando. Now, you cannot tell by looking at him, but he is a male of his species. The reason we know that is because we've actually taken a drop of his blood, sent it away to a lab, and by looking at his DNA, we can determine that. All that said, could have just listened to him that he was in fact a male Amazon. What happens when you see one of our female Amazons? That's right, likes the girl's attention, he's not going to deny it. Hear you guys laughing? Well, he thinks he's pretty funny too. Little bit of a comedian. By nature, parrots are playful though, so Fernando, being no exception to any rule, has a favorite game he likes to play. Loves a good tickle, of course. He's also known as our master of sound effects. Picked up a few living here. First off, us drinking a cold glass of water. Few chug-a-lugs. Not sure where this came about, but Fernando has learned to imitate a pig. Little rude, I tell him, but we're not done yet. He barks like a dog. Just really not threatening anybody with that though. And he's obviously talented. His talents do extend musically, so he loves whistling, singing, dancing. Start off with some dancing today. Shall we dance? All warmed up, ready to whistle? Keep in mind, as he whistles for you, different each and every presentation, always makes the tunes up as he goes along. Never quite know what's going to come out of his little beak. I'll see what he has for you all today. You have a pretty lovely Fernando original. Now, his abilities to sing, a little bit more limited to the fact that he has been learning to sing from us. And ask everybody to use your imagination. He's a little bit off key, we'll admit to that. So let's see what tune he has in store. Not actually that bad, okay? We're gonna clear him up. 2 coughs, 3, think we're back in order. Sound a bit like our national anthem. All right, well, we do not have parrots native to this country, of course, but all the ones here have hatched in Canada. He's very proud of the country he has hatched in. Let's try that again. pretty patriotic, but not too bad for a bird. Let's hear from him. He's done a great job today. Well, here at African Lions Party, we do believe that the first steps in conservation are education. So hopefully you haven't just enjoyed meeting some birds today, maybe you've even learned a thing or two. So on a bit of a conservation note, two very special birds making their way in here. This here is Levi and Benny. Why are they so special, you're wondering? Well, unfortunately for them, it's not the best reason. They are critically endangered. They're blue-throated macaws. They're the most endangered macaw living in the wild today. So you can only find blue-throats living in the wild of Bolivia. There, their numbers are ranging in a couple of hundred individuals. Now, we would like to leave you on a bit of more of a positive note than that, of course. Here at African Lions Safari, we've joined partnerships with the World Parrot Trust. These two are the first blue-throated macaws that hatched to the park. That happened back in 2018. So we're able to share them with you here today, but as well as looking towards the future of blue-throated macaws in Bolivia and impacting those numbers too, thanks to your visit today and your support. So we want to thank you very much for visiting us today. Thank you. Now, if you want to learn any more about animals, we do have one more presentation coming up today. It's all the way down Tusker Trail, past the waterfall. At the end of it, we have our little raised reptile presentation. So don't forget to enjoy that and enjoy this beautiful day here on Safari. Thank you. Goodbye.
Look how big they are. They're big. They're as big as Ember. They could probably pick her up too. And there's another seed to go from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at them.
Yes, sir. Feeling that.
They're fighting.
Yeah. Elephant ninja. Flamingos. Fact number 17. Flamingos get their pink or reddish color from the rich sources of carotenoid pigments found in the algae and small crustaceans that they eat. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyant. To the elephants behind the waterfall. Wow, elephants! Schau mich Wurzeln.
Yeah, they eat about 16 to 18 hours out of the day. 200, 300 pounds of food a day. She's like you, America.
Jaws. A turtle. He's a snapping turtle. Absolutely. He is called an alligator snapping turtle. Now, this species of turtle is actually the largest freshwater turtle in all of North America. We don't want to get too close to the railing, you guys. Can you go grab a seat, please, and thank you? Not too close to the railing. Come close to his mouth. What is Jaws going to do? Snap. Absolutely. He's going to snap that mouth shut. And he just caught himself a tasty sushi lunch with very minimal effort, which is pretty awesome. These guys will also sometimes eat dead animals they find at the bottom of the lakes or rivers they're living in, so they're great at cleaning up their ecosystems as well. Now, Jaws is very similar to another turtle we have here in southern Ontario. Has anybody ever seen a common snapping turtle before? Nobody? What kind of animal is Wallace? What is she? Crocodile. Great guess. I'll give you a hint. She's not a crocodile. Alligator. She's not a crocodile. She must be an alligator, right? One more hint. She's not an alligator. Oh, she's going to wiggle for me. You want to go on the ground, my dear? You can go for a walk. I heard it. What is it? Caiman. Absolutely. Very good. She is called a caiman, specifically a Cuvier dwarf caiman. Now, caimans are related to crocodiles and alligators. They're part of the crocodilian family. They're kind of like their little cousins. And in that family, we have crocodiles, alligators, caimans, and gharials. And they're not all the same, even though they look very similar. We can use another group of animals to kind of make a comparison. Who's heard of a canine before? Straight into her water, come up with her mouth wide open, and she's ready for a snack. These guys are also fantastic parents, the females especially. So when she lays her eggs, she's going to guard them for the 90+ days it takes for them to hatch. And she's not going to eat at all during that time while she watches over her babies. That way no predators come along and try to eat her eggs. Then when they start to hatch, you'll hear them crying from inside her nest. She's gently going to unbury them, open her mouth and let them crawl inside. And then she's going to carry all of her babies in her mouth to the nearest water source where they can have a drink, their first swim, and catch their first meal. Then she's going to look after those babies for a good 14 to 16 weeks while they grow up. And then once they're old enough, they're going to leave their mom and go off on their own into the wild. Pretty amazing. All right, guys, should we wave bye to my friend Wallace and go grab another friend? Bye. Our next animal friend, oh, I know, you want to go walking on the ground some more, my dear. Our last animal friend is a reptile with no legs. What reptile has no legs?
Snake.
A snake. Should we bring out a nice big snake for you guys to meet? All right, I'm going to grab my friend Poseidon. And Poseidon is still a little baby, but hopefully he's the largest snake that you guys have seen. Now, Poseidon is called a reticulated python. And this species of snake holds the record for the longest. You can greet him nice and loud as we come around the corner. Can everybody say, hi, Poseidon? Hi. I don't think he heard you guys. No, I mean, he doesn't have any ears. He really can't hear you guys. Snakes don't have any openings on the side of their head the same way we do. They don't have any external ears. They do have internal ears, however. So Poseidon can actually sense vibration. So when he's on the ground and I'm stomping towards him, he can hear that, but not so much words very well. Now, I mentioned this species of snake, excuse me, is the longest snake species in the world. Now, they do not hold the record for the heaviest. The heaviest snake is actually held by the green anaconda. So female green anacondas can get around 20 feet long and weigh over 500 pounds. So they're chunky monkeys. The longest reticulated python or snake on record was actually around 32 feet long. So that's about the length of your yellow school buses, you guys. That is a very big snake. To give you an idea, Poseidon here is only about 6 years old, and already he's around 10 feet long. So imagine a snake twice this size and still growing. These guys will grow their entire lives. You're pulling my mic off my head there, buddy. Arboreal mean? Anybody know? What's arboreal? Trees, yeah, they like to climb in trees, which is why he's such a fantastic climber. Now, semi being only about half the time, so they're going to spend the majority of their adolescence or their younger years high up in the trees looking for food and hiding from predators. As they get bigger, they're going to be a little bit too heavy to go climbing all that often, so they're going to go back on the ground. Now, when I had Poseidon around my body, was he constricting me? Was he trying to hurt me? No, he's just holding on to me like I'm a big warm tree. But he is an incredibly powerful and strong animal. Snakes have between 10 and 15,000 muscles in their bodies. So they have way more muscles than you and I do. And for that reason, I did not have Poseidon hanging around my neck. Because if I was moving around like this and he feels like he's going to fall down, what do you think he's going to do? Yeah, he's going to hold on tighter. He's going to squeeze. And I have a lot of really important stuff in my neck. So I don't want him to accidentally squeeze too tight because he's not going to mean it, but he could hurt me. And it's much safer for him and for me if I have him around my body instead. That way no accidents are going to happen. Now he is quite, you can see how long he is now as he's slithering around the ground. And you also might notice that he sticks his tongue in and out a whole awful lot. What is he doing with that tongue? What do you think? Breathing. Great guess. It's not breathing. He's not eating. Smelling. Yes, snakes use their tongues to help them smell. They do have nostrils, and they can smell a little bit with those, but they smell much better with the use of their tongue. And that's because they have a specialized organ in their mouth called a Jacobson's organ. So what he's going to do is he's going to grab all the scents out of the air with his tongue, bring them into his mouth, stick that tongue in that special organ, and that's where the majority of his scent receptors are. So that's how he sniffs all you lovely people here today. Now, being a python, he has an extra scent on his face that not all snakes have. Only a few groups of snakes or family of snakes will have this. And it is called heat sensing pits. Now those pits are like little holes near the side of their mouth. You're not going to hold on to me at all now, are you, buddy? And those holes allow him to sense heat, kind of like a thermal camera does. So Poseidon here knows that I'm nice and warm and the ground is cold before he even touches it. And that's going to help him look for his food. Because unlike the last two animals we brought out today, these guys are not going to be eating dead things that they find because their bodies just aren't adapted to breaking down the bacteria and things that are growing on dead stuff. So rather, they're going to be looking for live animals to eat. And the use of their tongue and those heat-sensing pits are going to help them do that. Now, Poseidon here is a constrictor. What does a constrictor do? What do you think?
Strangle you.
Yeah, they're going to squeeze, right? They're going to bite down on what they want to eat, wrap their super strong body around it, and give it a big hug or a squeeze before they start to eat. Because they actually have fairly sensitive and delicate mouths, so they don't want whatever they're trying to mow down on to be wriggling around all that much. Now, when snakes eat their food, are they chewing bits and pieces like us? No. What are they doing? Swallowing it whole, absolutely. And snakes have a very special jaw that allows them to do that.
Let's give them a nice warm welcome. Now you can smell these gentlemen from African relatives due to their high-down foreheads, arched backs, and smaller ears. To welcome you here today, they would like to give you a safari salute. Now before we begin with the demonstrations, I'd like to start with an introduction. First up is 20-year-old Natasha. And her baby Nellie, who is 1 year old. Next up we have 14-year-old George. And last but not least, we have 6-year-old Chuck. No elephants are still used today in the teak forests of Burma. They harvest wood from the forest and drag it down to the river where it floats the nearest mill for processing. We're going to give you a working demonstration on how this is still done today. We'll slip the harness over his head. And George is going to pull that big log around the ring. Now, as you can see, elephants are quite powerful, and they are preferred over heavy machinery due to the fact that they are more maneuverable. They can also reach those high mountainous regions that other tractors and vehicles can't, while doing less damage to the surrounding forest. Now, the harness George is wearing is much like the ones used today. This one is made of canvas, but they can also be made of leather. It evenly distributes the weight across his shoulders, so it's no problem for George to pull that heavy load. Now, Natasha's going to prove her strength by pushing the log back to the front for us. You may have noticed around the safari that some of our elephants have tusks. In the Asian species of elephants, only the males have the long visible tusks. The females have a shorter version, known as tushes. Elephant tusks are made of ivory, and ivory is extremely valuable. One single tusk can be worth up to 10 times the annual income in many African countries. Excellent work, Natasha. Now that she's up in the front, she'd like to get a closer look at all of you. Well, it looks like little Chuck over there thinks it's his turn to prove that he too has amazing power and strength. Now, just like any animal, it's extremely important that we check them over daily to make sure they're in perfect health. The easiest way for us to do this is to ask the elephants to lie down. Oh no, Chuck, why are you lying down over there? Oh, you know what? I think I forgot something. Something very important. I forgot Chuck's pillow. He can be a bit picky at times. I'll fluff it up for him. There we go. That's a bit more comfortable. Now that our elephants are down, this gives our trainers a chance to check over their large surface areas. They'll check their feet, which consists of a 1-inch thick callus pad, for any thorns or stones that might be embedded, or to see if any filing needs to be done. Oh no! Looks like Natasha wants to check Sebastian's feet out too! She just wants to make sure there's no thorns stuck in your feet. Here, have a treat. Maybe she'll accept a treat in exchange for your foot. Oh! You have to check your other foot out too! Get one more treat. There we go. He's free. Also check their stick, their ears, their mouth, and their eyes. Make sure everything's nice and clean. A sign to a healthy animal is a good clear eye. How about it, trainers? Did we pass our inspections? Awesome. Time to get up. Uh-oh. Looks like we have a sleepy elephant in the room. You can't nap during the show, Chuck. Maybe the pillow is a bad idea. He's too comfortable. Should we try to get the pillow out? Okay. I'll pull if you lift. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Well, that's not going to happen. What am I going to do? Something to scare him. That's a good idea, but what scares elephants? Where am I going to get a mouse? I don't see one. Over here? Where? Behind the log? Where? I think you guys are lying to me. I still can see one. Oh, I see him now. Okay, let's see if this works. Boo! Well, that didn't do anything. We'll try putting it on his side. Nope, that's not working. We'll try his head. Nope, that's not working either. I guess elephants aren't afraid of mice. But I know who is. Just kidding, guys. Come on right here. Safe and sound. On top of Mount University. Thank you. Well, that did not work, so I think we're going to need your help. How about on the count of three, say get up, Chuck. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Quite tall. A full-grown Asian elephant can stand 9.5 feet at the shoulder. There are no obvious means of getting on and off. Therefore, we had to invent our own ways. The first way George and I are going to show you is called the front leg mount. Going to grab onto his ear. He's going to lift me up, just like that. And to get down, he's going to lift his foot back up. And slowly lower me to the ground.
Whoa.
The second way we're going to show you is called the back leg mount. I'm going to grab onto George's tail here. It's going to lift me up. Oh no! Little help down there! Oh! That did not work! This is awfully embarrassing! Little help! I'm going to have help! Oh! I'm not working! Oh, I don't bend that way! Oh, I think I might need a boost. You boost me on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I tried. Maybe one more. A little more powerful this time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Wow, that was a little too powerful that time. Well, that didn't work at all. Maybe we should try that one more time. Hopefully a bit more successfully this time. Okay, I'll grab to his tail. Gonna lift me up, just like that. There we go. That'll be better that time, I think. Now, getting off an elephant, we do have an express method. I'm going to use George's head as a giant slide. Just like that. Thank you, George. Now that you've had a chance to see how our elephants work, we'd like to show you how they play. Natasha and I are going to have a one-on-one game of soccer. Who here thinks you're going to be able to block Natasha's shots? Anybody? No? Well, there's one person over there. Okay. Well, who thinks that Natasha's going to score on me? Everybody. Okay. Well, you might be right. She has been practicing. So I better be ready over here. She looks focused. Oh, so close. Oh, and she scores. Now Chuck's going to show us his amazing basketball skills. I think there's some trampling going on. Oh, slam dunk. Way to go, Chuck. So athletic. Now, just like every family, there's always one artist. A full-grown elephant can eat up to 250 pounds of food a day. This consists of hay, fruits and vegetables, and various supplemented grains. They can also drink up to 60 gallons of water.
Wow.
Now, both species of elephants are in fact endangered. This is due to habitat loss, but also due to poaching for their ivory tusks. African Lion Safari does have a very successful breeding program. Had 14 babies born here since 1991, which is pretty impressive when you consider the gestation period of an elephant is almost 2 years. Looks like George is all done. Very beautiful. I think he'd like to show off his work. There you have it, folks, our safari elephants. To thank you for coming today, they would like to give you a final safari salute. And a bow for a job well done.